Feelings. How are we all feeling about the book so far? Are we having a good time? Do you all feel more knowledgeable, informed, and ready to take on the world? Do you feel some parts were entertaining? Did the previous chapters make you feel exposed, targeted, foolish, embarrassed, or even offended? I am hoping the majority of the feelings that you have experienced so far have been in a favorable light. But I can't control your emotions, can I? Please read on. We are about to discuss feelings and how understanding another person's feelings and how creating feelings within others is the backbone to understanding why other people act the way they do. Here is an interesting thought. Could one of the secrets to living a complete and fulfilling life be as simple as how we make other people around us feel? Our words and actions create feeling towards others. If we concentrated on just this one thing, could we significantly change our environment and our lives? In this chapter, in an attempt to get my point across, I will use the word feel or feelings. What feels like 100 times. Overkill, I know. But when we're done here, I feel like we will all be on the same page. I have an emphasis bar here. It says feelings are emotion. Emotions create motion. Motion creates action. Action creates results. Results create achievement. Think about this for a minute. How do we make others feel when we enter a room or talk on the phone? How do we make others feel when we leave a room or after hanging up? Do other people feel better or worse after speaking to us or meeting us? If you are the boss or the manager in a supervisory position, do you make your subordinates feel appreciated, uplifted, confident in their own abilities? Do you make them feel like they're part of a team, valuable to the organization, and recognized for a job well done? Do you make them feel worthy, important, and relaxed? Does the company culture and the overall atmosphere that you are responsible for in creating make the employees feel like coming to work in the morning? Or, as a boss or a supervisor, make them feel like they are being talked down to when you speak to them? Do you make them feel like you are above them? Do you make them feel threatened and insecure about their jobs? Do you make them feel like they are just a number and not a person? Do you make them feel disposable? Do you make them feel stressed? Do you make the employees feel like you are not present and out of touch with reality? I believe the key to a successful life hinges on this very simple premise. How do we make others feel? I have an emphasis bar. It says, how we make others feel determines everything. Period. Full stop. Have you ever worked for a terrible boss? We all have, right? When you think back on the experience, how do they make you feel the majority of the time? Good or bad? My guess is that most of the time after an interaction with them, you probably felt stressed, annoyed, or down on yourself. More bad than good, right? How did a good boss make you feel? If we've been lucky enough to have one. My estimation is that it was probable that they made you feel hopeful and confident, brighter, or uplifted when they spoke to you. More good than bad, right? We can take this simple philosophy on how we make others feel across the board, discussing behaviors of salespeople, coaches, husbands, spouses, and friends. If you consider yourself a salesperson, do you make your customers feel like they can count on you and trust you? Do your customers feel confident in their decision making to move forward with you, the product that you're offering, and with your company? Do you, as a salesperson, make your customers feel like everything is going to be okay? Do you make your customers feel like they are in good hands? Only if you work for Allstate Insurance, I guess. Do you make them feel like you are easily accessible if there are any issues down the road? Or do you make your customers feel like you are only out for yourself and that you do not have their best interest in mind? Do you make your customers feel like they are not getting the best option or that there is something that you are not telling them? Do you make them feel like they should shop around for a better solution to their needs? Does your customer feel like you are too pushy, too shady, too close in proximity to their personal space? Too much? I have an emphasis bar here. It says feel, feel, feel. Everything is about how another person feels. If you are reading this and you consider yourself a sales professional and want to check the temperature of your customer, stop during the sales presentation sometime and ask them, so how do you feel about all this so far? Are you comfortable with me in the process at this point? These probing questions about their feelings will help you speak to your customer on a human level, gathering essential feedback that you can react to and release any tension for all parties involved in the sales process. It's a magical question. Simple, human, and effective. Let's switch it up for a moment. Do you think people perform better when they feel good about themselves or when they feel bad about themselves? Obvious answer, right? Most people perform their best when they are feeling good about their surroundings or personal roles. The skills we need in the business world as a manager or a company leader are often learned coaching youth athletics, such as on the soccer fields, the gridiron, basketball courts, and baseball diamonds. I know I skipped the coaches at the hockey rinks, lacrosse fields, and track and field. Former coaches or current coaches of these chosen sports reading this were feeling left out, weren't you? Coaching kids is no different from managing grown adults. It is completely all about managing the feelings and the morale of your team. Another emphasis bar is a person's ability to create positive feelings within others determines whether they will be successful in their endeavor or not. If you are a coach of youth or high school age athletics, do you make your players feel like they can accomplish anything together as a team? Do you make them feel good about themselves to bring out their very best? Do you make them feel like they are well prepared and trained? Does each one of your players feel like they have an important role on the team? Do your players feel like they would run through a wall for you? Do you make them look forward to practice? Or is your practice game plan such a pointless drag that everyone thinks practice is a waste of everyone's time? Do the players feel like you don't care about winning? Do your players feel like you don't know what you're doing? Do your players feel like you play favorites? Do your players feel like no matter how hard they try, they will never get the playing time they deserve? If we play sports and remember some of the coaches we may have had, it is pretty easy to separate the good ones from the bad, isn't it? How do we treat people that we love in a meaningful relationship? If you are a husband, do you make your wife feel like a queen? Does your wife feel secure with her surroundings? If you have children together under the same roof, does she feel like her family is in a safe environment? Does she feel like you work hard for the family? Does she feel like she can trust you? Does she feel like you listen to her? Does she feel like you both make important decisions together? Does your wife feel like you love her? Does she feel like you communicate your feelings back to her? Does any of this sound familiar, gentlemen? If you consider yourself a good friend, do your friends feel like they can count on you for emotional support or help when they need it the most? Do your friends feel like they can talk to you about their personal problems? Do you make your friends laugh and feel happy to be around you? Or do your friends feel like you drag them down or put them down? Do your friends feel like they don't want to be around you anymore? Do your friends feel like you are talking bad about them behind their backs and that you are two-faced? Do they feel like you are unreliable? Basically, a good friend is a person that makes you feel good when you are around them, right? And a bad friend really isn't a friend at all when you think about it, are they? I have an emphasis bar that says we can make people feel good or bad, intentionally or unintentionally. Sometimes we have to intentionally make other people feel bad about our words and actions. If we are wanting to move another human being towards a different state or change their behavior, we are making them feel bad on purpose. This will all be explained in the next paragraph. In addition, we also intentionally make others feel good in order to change another person's behavior, such as when someone gives a feel-good motivational speech to a group of people. Some personality types are more motivated to change their behavior if we help them gravitate towards pleasure. Others are more motivated if we try to help them move away from pain. If we find ourselves talking to a large group of people, we can't know the personality type of each individual listening to us. Some things we say may make some of our audience members feel bad. Other words we say may make them feel good. It is absolutely possible that the exact same series of words that we utter can make one person feel good and another person feel bad. Let me strengthen my point above with these two scenarios. Example 1. Let's pretend an individual is starting a weight loss course with around 20 other people. To kick off the first 10 minutes of the course, Maggie, the instructor, has a digital photo of each new client and projects everyone's photo on a screen as she introduces them to all the other members of the class. Each new client looks at themselves in the displayed pictures. They all see how heavy they have become with their weight gain and are probably not feeling too good about themselves. Maggie is trying to make her new students come to the realization that it is time to make a change, and is also deliberately trying to make her audience feel bad in order to gain commitment for her program. Maggie then introduces a new lady, Cynthia, as she comes to the front of the room to speak with the group. Cynthia is wearing a stylish, form-fitting professional business suit and shows off what appears to be a $200 high-end salon hairdo. Maggie then shows a digital image of Cynthia 1 year ago when she was a client on day 1 of her class, just like they all are today. Cynthia is 100 pounds heavier and looks miserable and unhealthy. The day 1 clients all gasp, having a hard time believing that the photo being projected is the same beautiful woman that stands before them today. The audience members start to feel good. Hope and faith fills the air, and a vision for themselves start to materialize. Maggie's game plan was to deliberately make her audience feel good, showing them that there is hope for everyone in her class in order to influence their behaviors. Some of the new members even feel better about their own photo now because they think they don't look nearly half as bad as Cynthia did from a year ago. Maggie understands how feelings and human behavior intersect, and she made her clients feel bad on purpose in order to eventually make them feel good. Before we jump into example 2, I feel that I need to bring up a concept that explains how human beings react to things. I have an emphasis bar, and it states, depending on how we feel about ourselves at the moment a message is delivered, influences how good or bad we react to it. Depending on whether we have a low self-esteem or high self-esteem will influence whether we hear something and feel good about it or hear the exact same words and feel bad about it. Obviously, our general attitude towards life will also affect how we interpret things. Folks with a great outlook on life will usually see the good in most situations. Folks with a terrible poor me attitude will usually find the negative in most things. Consequently, we are going to call this concept the Self-Assessment Feeling Indicator, or SAFI for the acronym, and move on to our next example to solidify my thoughts. Example 2. Let's say a CEO is conducting an online webinar or a live presentation to an entire organization and is giving a state of the company address. The CEO announces positive news that the company is expanding, and with the new growth, many more leadership positions will be needed. The CEO expresses that many people from within will have to be promoted, resulting in extra pay and responsibility. Employee A hears the CEO's message, and it makes them feel bad in such a way that they decide they are ready to quit their job that day. Employee B hears the same words and reacts super fired up and immensely excited for the future. Two completely different responses to the exact same message. The CEO's intention was to make the organization members feel great about where the company was going. Why did employee A react differently to employee B? The backstory is that employee A has a terrible attitude and a low self-esteem. When they heard the CEO's message, their brain immediately went to thoughts of, they will never promote me. They will never ask me to be the manager. Everybody but me will get a raise. I'm not smart enough for them. They feel so bad about the words that express hope that they want to quit their job right now. Employee A's self-assessment feeling indicator, or SAFI score, is usually hovering around a 3 on a 10 scale, which causes the reaction to the words relayed by the CEO. Employee B has a go-getter attitude and is filled with ambition. Employee B's SAFI score is usually around an 8 or 9. Employee B feels they want to do their best at work so their family can have nice things. They hear the same message and think, finally, I have a chance to get a supervisor position. Things are really looking up for me, and I am so excited about my career with this fine company. The CEO delivers the one message, but the message has completely different reactions from employee A and employee B due to their SAFI score. So there you go. Feelings. Have we made folks around us feel good today, or have we made them feel bad? By the way, how did you all feel about this chapter? I feel pretty good about it. Unsubstantiated advice from a middle-aged man about feelings. Understanding other people's feelings is the key component to understanding human behavior. We must try our best to make other people feel good around us, unless our mission is to make them feel bad temporarily in order to make them feel good. Am I right about this, or am I just half right? This concludes the feelings chapter in Unsubstantiated Advice About Life from a Middle-Aged Man. Please search for the next YouTube video in the next chapter, Goal Setting, one of my specialties. Thanks for listening, everybody.